The costume shop itself is responsible for every mounted production. When the designers bring me the research and the drawings that they've got for the show, then we're able to take a look at it and say it's got this type of corset or this type of petticoat. It's going to be out of this kind of fabric. Ordinarily, this period would have big bows and big ruffles and things like that. They instead decided that they wanted to create those graphics in a two-dimensional way by doing all of this applique work. All of these pieces have to be cut out, glued on, and then sewed in place. And so in a way, what we're actually doing is creating our own fabric as opposed to using just the existing fabric that's here. One of the things that's really problematic about these giant coats is they're very, very heavy. And so how do you make them so that they occupy the appropriate amount of space, so they create the appropriate silhouette in air, but so that they're not so ridiculously heavy that the actors can't do what they need to do in them. And so being able to marry the two kind of contradictory approaches to what the clothes need to do is one of the many things that the costume technologist has to do.
For the first couple of weeks at least, you were getting exposed to all sorts of things. First week I was doing wigs, second week I was doing applique stuff, last week I made a sleeve, and this week I'm working on petticoats.
There's about 6 people in my class, so it's very small, very intimate. We get a lot of help from Ted, and even when you're working on homework, you can bring him over.
We have 4 years. How do we get these varying things into a person's experience to be able to then make sure that their buffet is completely full by the time they graduate, so that when they're trying to work professionally, they've got a portfolio that represents the entirety of what they could be asked to do in the outside world.
I see the changes that happen to it going from a pattern to fabric, and then I feel what that is like on my body as an actor. So especially I worked a lot on the bodice and with the boning, and that's what keeps the corset stiff. So I know where all the bones are and how different they are in terms of the style and the period, and how differently they feel on my body as opposed to the rehearsal corset I'm wearing. The one I wear for the show is made for me, and it's just a wildly different feel. And so it's really nice to know how that sort of came about.
Whether they're a costume student or not, they're going to learn skills that they won't ever see again on another show.